I'm going to begin with showing you how to make some brackets that are cropping tools. So the easiest way to do this is to have a thick piece of paper and a ruler. So I'm using a big photo. My photo is 8 by 10. So my brackets that I'm using are also going to be big. So that's what I'm doing right there. I'm measuring. I'm measuring them 7 inches for the top of the L and 7 inches for the lower bottom part of the L shape. So there I am lining it up, marking at the 7, and drawing it across. So you're going to be doing 2 of these. So they work together to make a rectangular shape. So I've sped this up, but you can see the L taking shape there. And again, the vertical part of the L measures 7. The foot also measures 7 as well. Now, if you are working smaller, you could shrink down your L. I'd say don't go any smaller than 5 for the top and 5 for the bottom. But I'm working on an 8 by 10, and I found this one to be a little bit small for an 8 by 10. So it's not a bad thing to have some extra length to these brackets. So once you have both of them outlined, you can go ahead and take a pair of scissors and carefully cut them out. It is important that you maintain kind of a straight edge, and just be careful not to cut all the way through the bend in the L. So here's what those 2 brackets should look like, and they do overlap. You want them to kind of one crosses over the other. Now here's the photo reference that I've chosen to work on for this exercise. Again, you can do landscape or you can do whatever picture you want to do for that. You could even choose to do an artist's work. You could take a master artist piece, use that and crop it down. If printing is a problem, that's okay. You could look at it from your computer. It just makes it much easier to do if you have a printed version of your reference. So you're first going to be doing a 4 by 6 frame here. So that's a pretty big frame for the first one. The first one is going to be your original picture. And we are going to be drawing here. You'll be drawing with the materials you have at hand. So I'm hoping you have a pencil and paper and a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, you can use some kind of other straight edge. You can make one. You can take a box and make sure you're using like the straight part of the box, but you can make a straight edge almost out of anything. So I am putting the rule of thirds on there real quick to help me. It's not a requirement. It just helps me to gauge where to place my objects within that picture plane. So here's what my frame looks like all ready to go. And this one is going to be my original. So I'm going to copy exactly the placement of objects as I see it on the picture. This is what I'm looking for in an outline. So you can see this outline is pretty rough. I'm just getting the basic suggestion of the shapes and forms, and I'm not being too careful about 100% accuracy. These are small sketches, so you don't have to worry about detail too much. You do need to think about placement, and you do ultimately need to think about values and massing. You should also take into consideration everything we've discussed about composition, so placement of your horizon line, top third, bottom third, and also the rule of thirds, where to place things near hot spots to make them the most effective. So I just went ahead and basically outlined that top box, but now I'm looking at the crop for my second box. The second box does not need to be quite as big as the first, so this one is smaller. If you want exact measurements, it measures 2.5 by 4.5 because I'm doing more of a panoramic. And here's just a basic outline for crop number 1. You'll notice that the box above it, that's the original one, and that's the biggest box there. It's 4 by 6. So here's the final crop I'll be playing with. So I'm taking those tools and I'm narrowing in, zooming in on a spot, and I'm thinking about the rule of thirds. I'm thinking about making sure my horizon is not right in the middle, cutting the picture in half. So I'm playing with it and I'm moving things around, seeing how they look. So here's my crop number 2. Again, very loosely addressed, but I'm doing it all with lines, so I'm just outlining it this step. I will go back in a moment and start to shade these. So I'm going to render them 3D, and I'm looking for a value hierarchy. So look for the darks, look for the midtones, look for the lights. So here's what I have so far. The original's up on top. It's big. Crop 1, which is 2.5 by 4.5. Crop 2, which is about 3 by 4. I just want it to be somewhere in that range. It shouldn't be so small like 1 by 2. You can do a box. If you do a box, I'd recommend 3 by 3, so a perfect square. What these bad boys look like once they've been shaded in, just to give a suggestion of massing and shadow patterns to the viewer and really for yourself. Because I think I showed you my sketchbook that's filled with little sketches like this, and it really helps when picking a composition that I want to do for a bigger piece. So it can help you and save you some trouble in the long run because you can solve some problems here and also discover which one you like the best. Have fun with this.